Hello, this is Phantom Electric Ghost, and this is our podcast where we talk about our music and we also interview bands. The last interview we did was with the Swedish band Psychopets. It's actually a duo. Now we're actually going to talk about our own Phantom Electric Ghost music, which we are is known as a DAW-less producer. We use hardware synths and hardware recorders like the Zoom R24 in direct recording for all of our hardware synths like Junos from Roland and Moog grandmothers and Mother 32s. So we got a combination of Eurorack and digital synthesis like OPZs and System 1Ms, JDXIs, but also Arturia, Mini Brutes, Moog Mother 32s, Moog grandmothers, and then Make Noise Math module, Make Noise Morphogene sampler. So we've embraced sampling, but we do it in a little bit different way. We're more of a found sound, or actually, sampling ourselves rather than sampling other people's music. And so we've created this kind of hybrid of electronic music, a punk attitude, a little rock and roll that we call Expansive Sound. This episode, Seemless Unseen Mysteries, is going to talk about some of that type of music. We also would like to implore our fans, we've reached over 30,000 listeners, to actually become a supporter of the show at 99 cents per month through Anchor FM. That's $12 a year, or you can do an immediate donation through PayPal Me, where also you can donate to Phantom Electric Ghost through our PayPal Me on our SoundCloud. If you go to Phantom Electric Ghost on SoundCloud, you can hit the PayPal Me button to help us support free interviews with artists all over the world. We do hour-long interviews with those bands. If you enjoy listening to those interviews more than listening to me talk about my own music, please support us. So we don't charge those artists anything for that. And then, the PayPal Me is immediate. The Anchor FM is more of a subscription. So we get that out of the way. The other thing we're going to talk about is synthesizer technology. And we'll talk about what we think about the new Roland Groove Box, which is the Reverse Lab MV1, and we'll talk about that. So one of the things we'd like to do from the beginning of the Ghost to do these kind of rocked out punk aesthetic exercises. We are fans of bands like Joy Division, The Replacements, Paul Westerberg and The Replacements, the Ramones, bands like Husker Du on SST, Black Flag, REM. It's kind of indie pop or indie pre-grunge. The Husker Du was the grunge band. The Replacements were a punk band that actually evolved into Beatle-esque. Paul Westerberg is a great songwriter. He maybe didn't want to be as successful, kind of trying to follow the path of Alex Chilton and Big Star. Somewhat self-destructive, but a great songwriter, putting together, the albums are like Tim, Let It Be, and Pleased to Meet Me. It was like a trio of really awesome albums that affected my songwriting. So Seemless Unseen Mystery has got Josephine Electric, my alter ego, created through synthesis via a VT3, in this case, vocal transformer. We like to use the VT3 in some cases because of its scatter capability, which they've neglected to put on the VT4, which I don't know why. It's on the MX1 performance mixer and it's on the VT3, but then they took it off the VT4. But on the VT4 vocal transformer, they added polyphonic capability and a harmonizer and just more capability and a smaller package that's battery powered. So we go back and forth between the VT3 and VT4 for different types of things. We're always playing with Josephine's voice to kind of tweak it, and we kind of pitch it up or pitch it down or add different effects to it. In this particular song, we're using our trusty duo of the JDXI hybrid analog synthesizer, which uses the ability to do the type of supernatural sounds that Roland's known for with analog capability. and we use that to actually the built-in drum machines that are in it, kind of like what Roland's done with their groove boxes. It's got a bunch of built-in drum machines. It's got 808s, 909s, 727s. All the famous drum machines are in it. It is limited in its initial implementation. If you just use a JDXI, you can't really build a whole song. But if you connect it to a sequencer like the BeatStep Pro, then you can chain pattern and do almost what you do. Because the BeatStep Pro basically lets you do a TR step recording capability. So you can extend it and then chain pattern it into song structures. And we've been doing that since 2016 manually. And then when they added the update to do chain patterns, we've been doing that ever since. And it's been our go-to sequencer. It's our primary sequencer. We have a sequencer and a couple of sequencers. There's one inside of the JDXIs we already talked about. We don't use that as much. There's a sequencer in the Grandmother, which we use a lot. The sequencer within the Drummer from Another Mother from Moog, we use that. It's only an 8-step. But there is an awesome sequencer on the Arturia BeatStep Pro, which we use consistently. And that's kind of like the mechanics of what we do. But the kind of attitude, again, in this song, it's got a punk aesthetic. It's got what we actually did is we took a Roland piano. And on the Juno GI we've talked about, one of the cool things about that synth that's kind of old in the tooth is the fact that it's got the Boss stomp boxes, which maybe people don't realize, but Boss is actually a subsidiary of Roland. And this particular Roland synth has the ability to do partial sounds up to 4 to create a tone. And then it also has Boss chain effects that you can just make part of the sound. And they've got a lot of stomp boxes, delays, distortion pedals, fuzz boxes, choruses, anything you'd want to make it. And it's got some built-in guitars that take advantage of that. And when you actually go and look at the mapping for the structure of these songs, you find out that you can actually add these effects to any tone. And when we actually added it to a grand piano and we created this kind of tone that you hear in this song, which is not based on the guitar source patches, it's based on a piano patch. So he's kind of got a little Hammond B3, a Leslie type of thing going on. But we used it and we came up with the groove. We kind of do a stream of consciousness type of recording where we got these kind of ideas informed by bands like Huskadoo and Black Flag and the Butthole Surfers and bands like that. Plus, we just got into it and we came up with this idea of mixing like sexual innuendo with the concept of a mystery and this idea that Josephine's very, very like A-type sexually aggressive dominatrix. That's who she is. And that she's like, just wants to get the sex from someone and then put that sex into them and then sex put into her. And she's just into this mutual satisfaction situation where it just explodes into total ecstasy. And that's kind of what she's all about. And then we have the song Little Death of the Soul. And we play with the idea of Little Death. It's a romantic poet thing. We are big fans of William Blake, big fans of Tennyson and Lord Byron. These are the romantic poets, and they used to kind of layer or hide their eroticism with language like Little Death, which actually is just a synonym for an orgasm. And it's a good way to kind of throw that into a song and not make it readily apparent about what it's about. And we've been playing with a lot of sexuality in these songs because we get kind of go there, and whether that makes you feel a little cagey about what we're doing, that's fine. We understand some people are sensitive to that. And Done Till You're Done is another kind of sexual aspect song of Josephine's overall personality, which is very interesting because sometimes she just gets out there and is just really hypersexual, and other times she's remorseful or plaintive or thinking about the situation, and maybe she should live with a little more clarity and understanding of just have a real relationship, just not a sexual relationship. Not that sexual relationship isn't real, but maybe it doesn't satisfy you at the end of the day. That you find out that you're actually still got a void because it didn't, that sex session didn't actually satisfy your soul. And so, and then we get into what we always want to get into, which is PEM, which is political electronic music. From the day one of the Ghost, we were kind of prophetic. We wrote the title track to Something Wicked, had the line, "Something Wicked This Way Comes, TRUMP." And it basically was a song about xenophobia and the dangers of a person like demagogue like Donald Trump. And we did it before he was elected in 2016. We wrote about it early 2016, and it became true. And the album is on Amazon.com as a CD. It's been kind of run by the scalpers, and it's very expensive to get that hard copy. But the song itself, Something Wicked, is on all the streaming services. So if you type in Phantom Electric Ghost and you want to hear that track, type in Something Wicked, Phantom Electric Ghost, and you'll hear what we're talking about, which we actually predicted, the danger of Donald Trump. So F that bump stop is this idea, there's a way to convert automatic weapons into fully or semi-automatic weapons into automatic weapons. And basically we were using the Phantom voice, which we don't use all the time, which is still the courtesy of a VT3. We just pitch it down. And the Phantom's kind of talking about, well, you know what? It doesn't matter if you make this gun have something that prevents it from becoming automatic. I'm going to still use these tools to do evil things. It's called Hate Part 2. That the idea that the Trumper youth are like the Hitler youth, and that the violence on the right is not going to get stopped by a rule because they're just going to do whatever we're going to do. We're going to convert these weapons. We're going to do whatever we want, and we're going to be what you saw in Washington D.C. on January 6th, which is a very hateful crowd of maniacs. And so we kind of go between the sexual and the political in our music, and that's what we do. And we use a lot of hardware. And a lot of young people probably can't build up the hardware I've built up, and that's why they use the DAW. But even the DAW, if you think about an urban artist, having to pay for a Mac, $2,000-$3,000 Mac, $1,000 license for stuff, and buy a decent microphone, some thousands of dollars, which you might be able to get in the underground economy or however you get it by working 4 jobs or something. But Roland has brought back the groove boxes, which back in the day, the MV boxes and the MC boxes from Roland allowed people to actually create beats, kind of like what happened with the MPC from Akai, without having to have a DAW. I mean, the whole idea of the early hip hop with the 808 and the 909 and the TB303 were these little boxes that you could hook up as a DJ and actually create hip hop music. The cool thing about the new VersaLab MV1 is it's got a dedicated vocal track. It's got XLR input for the mic with phantom power. It's got an actual mastering capability. Now, it's only an 8-track machine, 7 tracks with a vocal track. One thing that I don't understand why they did, because on the MC 707, they got the ability to bring in CV. I guess they thought that the urban users wouldn't have any Euro racks. I think that's a mistake. Hopefully, I'm very interested in this machine because of its ability to master and put everything together in a small package. But its lack of CV is very concerning, just because I have a lot of CV gear. And now you can get over that because you could get a MIDI to CV converter box. Like in my Euro rack, I could get a MIDI to CV converter box. I could get a module that could take that MIDI signal and convert it to CV and CV to MIDI. So you can get around the fact that it doesn't have that, but then you got to buy another box. It would be cool if Roland had taken the same capability on the 707 and put it on this machine. But I think they thought that those users wouldn't have Euro racks. And I don't know if that's correct, because there's a lot of people I've seen that are DJs that actually have SEO2s. They've got 808s. They've got some Behringer products that are low mini synths. Because they're making them so affordable. So it was kind of a misstep because I think all DJs like to take in any capability they can, and more are bringing in a lot of hardware synths. And the Eurorack hardware synth is kind of like the new thing. So hopefully Roland will solve that, or they'll make an extended device, but you don't really need to because you buy something yourself through the MIDI. You could do it. So that's kind of disappointing. I do like the idea of it. I do think Roland needs to build better screens on their machines, which they do have. If you took the screen off the Phantom and put it on a machine like that, but then you probably would have hit maybe like a $2,000 machine instead of a 700. So I can understand that, but maybe they can make a professional version of that and actually beef up the 707. And like there are things on this VersaLab there aren't on the 707, and there's things on the 707 that aren't on the VersaLab. To me, if they want to compete with Akai, they need to take the best features of both of those machines and give it a real touchscreen for the Phantom. And we have the full CV integration. So you have, this. If you look at the Phantom, it's got amazing amounts of I/O. That kind of I/O should have been in this machine. So you basically need to build a groove box with all that kind of I/O. A bunch of USB inputs, bunch of CV inputs. MIDI in, out, through, XLR out, quarter inch out, in. Then you can have a real machine. Because one of the things as a hardware synth guy is like sometimes I don't want to take my whole studio on the road. And I've been looking at the Akai Force, and now Roland's getting closer and closer to an Akai Force or an MPC-1. But then they're putting it into different boxes and they're not putting it all together. So Roland needs to take the best of those machines and make it like, MV1 or a 707 Plus or something that has everything. Now, people would say, well, the 707 is actually more what you want. And maybe that's true, but it doesn't have the vocal track. And so one of the cool things about this new VersaLab is that if you had to go on and do a show, you could just bring this machine with a MIDI controller, like an Arturia Key Lab, and you could run a whole show with this thing. And I have the vocoders already. Like I have the VT3 and the VT4, and there's a little bit more advanced than what's in this thing. But there's a lot of capability in this thing. I think it actually, in the menu diving, I think it can actually do, from what I can see, a lot of VT3, VT4 type of things. But it might not have everything that I have, like in my JDXI vocoder is amazing because it has the keyboard integrated. And so you can do really cool things with that. And the VT4 has capabilities the VT3 doesn't. So it's typical of Roland and even Moog. They like to make machines that are very specific, and there's a reason to have it, even though, there's some things that are redundant, but then there's some things that are actually additional that you actually want. Like we said, in the VersaLab, you've got the vocal track, which is missing on the 707. So that's the kind of thing you get. It's the same idea with like the Jupiter X, actually has the plug outs that we saw in the System 1 and System 8. And we get to the Phantom, it doesn't have it. The Phantom then is a great machine. It's a great workstation, but you can't get the full emulation of a Jupiter because they want you to buy a Jupiter X. Even though technically the Phantom could have that emulation, and I guess they don't want to make it, so there's no reason to get a Jupiter X. But it's like if you're going to spend almost $4,000 for Phantom 8, you should be able to replicate the Jupiter X, in my opinion. But I understand why they didn't do it, because they want to make you buy a Jupiter X. And the Jupiter X's appeal is it's got the full workflow of a Jupiter, but it's got the polyphony of a modern synth, so you can have like 4 Jupiters, like 32 voices of a Jupiter 8 stacked on top of each other. Or you could take a Jupiter 8 and a 106 and stack them on top of each other. Or you can take an RD piano and stack it on top of a Jupiter 6. I get why that you want that. And you can't do that on the Phantom. It doesn't do that. So it's a different thing. It's a different reason why you get it. But people have complained that they felt that the System 8 implementation, even though it doesn't match the actual visual look of a Jupiter, that they prefer the way it works. In some cases, even though it's 8 voices. I actually have played both machines at Guitar Center. And I would say that the Phantom is very impressive in what it can do, but the System 8 is its own thing. I mean, it's an actual kind of underdog synth. And if you were out there trying to get a synth before they're out of production, I think people are going to want System 8s. And if people are kind of silly and they say, oh, they don't like the Darth Vader green look of it, that really doesn't mean anything because it's an actually a very awesome synth. It has a lot of capability. It's kind of like, people say, oh, they don't like what Roland's doing. They don't do analog. This machine sounds so analog, you have a hard time not thinking it is. And it has so much surface controls. It's just like my Moog grandmother. It's totally surface controlled. You can do everything you want with the sound and save it and have an awesome sequencer and decent effects. I mean, it's a really good choice. For many years, I've wanted it. With so many cents out since then, like the Prophet 5 and the Prophet 10, and now there's desktop versions of those. You got the UDO Super 6, you got the Phantom 8 and 7 and 6. There's a lot of choices out there. You got to make a decision. In terms of our actual composition, we could just keep on coming back to a Phantom 7, Phantom 8, just because they got the rolling cloud, they got the sequencer, they got the song construction, they've got the basic ability to master, create a song right on the board. And if you had to go and just have one board to put in your road case, the Phantom 8 can pretty much do it. And because of all of its I/O, I can bring my Eurorack solution, my Arturia 6U, and actually integrate it directly into the machine. And that's pretty powerful. And having our RDB piano for performance, and the fact that it actually can kind of seamlessly go from pad to pad or tone to tone on its pad. When you go from tone to tone on this machine, there's no cutoff. It keeps the other one going. And so that, as a musician, as a performance board, in my opinion, it's even more powerful than the Jupiter because you could have whole songs built into this thing with the scenes and the sequencer. You could have your whole set actually preset. If you can link it to your DAW, you've got a total performance. If you're a music director, you can just run. And you can see professional bands, bands that maybe you think sold out or corporatized bands, they use, Chronoses or they use Phantoms because, they can afford them, but they actually allow you to perform. But, in my opinion, I like my Moogs. And I like, single purpose type of machines like my Junos because I can just get to what I want. And it's not multi-purpose. It's not going to jack of all trades, but I like the kind of punk aesthetic of my Moog grandmother. I would always have probably a grandmother or a matriarch type of thing on stage. And if I could, I would also always have a Prophet 5 or 10, just because you want that sound. And then if you're having to play professionally, and you need all those tones to match what's on the record, the Phantoms and the Chronoses are the boards you're going to use. But for your own personal choices as a musician, what you really love to play may be your matriarchs and your Oberheims and your Prophet 5s and 10s. Those as a musician, those boards are just like historic and have a lot of history. And there's a lot of, love as a musician for those type of instruments. I mean, I totally get enthralled with my grandmother, having been a mini Moog fan for many years and not being able to get one. And then being able to get introduced to Moog with the Mother 32 and then the DFAM, the grandmother really just set up that whole thing. And a matriarch, it is always on the list because it is like, if you can't get a Moog 1, if you look at a matriarch, it's like the dream synth that Moog has created, and anyone who's ever touched one can know that synth is like that's it. It can really make you very happy in terms of what it can do, even though it's just a paraphonic synth and it's just it's got 4 oscillators, and the LFO can trigger to like a 5th. So you potentially have 5 voices of paraphony on this machine, and you have a real analog delay, not a digital delay. And it just has that Moog sound. There's nothing like that. Just like there's nothing like a Prophet sound, there's nothing like a Moog sound. So we've been pushing multiple people, multiple brands, Prophet, Moog, Roland. And it's kind of what as we said, we're a hardware synth producer that we appreciate hardware just the way a guitar player appreciates a custom guitar. or a certain model or year of a guitar, that is kind of in synthesis. We are of the mind that the hardware synth character and ability and control surfaces are core to how we write our music. Not that you can't do this stuff in a soft synth or a plugin, but having the control surfaces of a Mother 32 or a grandmother or a System 1M or a Eurorack, that's why people buy these things, is because when you're a synthesist, you're not just a piano player or an organ player. You use those control surfaces to make your sound, to actually perform. And if you ever watch videos of, the synthesis in the 70s and like Edgar Winter on an ARP 2600, you can see that there's a reason why those control surfaces are core to the sound. And it would be very hard to replicate doing that on just a MIDI board and a soft set, because you don't have those controls in front of you unless you find a way to put them onto an Arturia Keylab. You're still not going to have all the controls that are on a Moog. You just won't have it. And so the reason you want the people want the Prophet 5 today is, even though the Prophet 6 can do more, technically, the spacing out of the control surface on a Prophet 510 make it easy to make choices and not make missteps when you're controlling the workflow on the subtractive synth. Everything's spaced out. Everything's very clear where it is. You don't have too many choices. You have just enough to be able to make the sound and to alter the sound in a way that Keith Emerson or Rick Wakeman does when you watch them on a mini Moog. And that is the core, to me, of electronic music. The electronic music, not from a DJ, but from a synthesis. And there's a difference between an electronic DJ and a synthesis. A synthesis is somebody that understands subtractive synthesis or additive synthesis, or basically, all the different types of synthesis we have today, including the kind of found sound and granular synthesis, how to manipulate and create tones, not just play as a producer and map tones. Not that on a soft synth you can't design a tone, but I would argue that anything you do on a soft synth, if you get a Moog, or if you get a Prophet 5, or you get an Oberheim, you will see the difference immediately in your sound, and the ability to control that sound and to use it as a musician in your music with the controller, which is the hardware synth itself, is part of that equation. And when you take the control schema away, you don't have the capability that you have if you had the hardware. Now, there's so much hardware out there. Yeah, I understand you have more choices as a soft synth on your Mac or your PC than you do as a synthesis. But part of music, the problem today is having too many choices kind of is a problem. If you limit your choices and then you become more of an expert at your limited choices, if you only have a grandmother or you only have your Eurorack in the current configuration, you're somewhat limited in what you can do. And I was reading an interview with Tennis, which is a band I really love from Colorado. And they were talking about, like, when you make a choice in music, you limit, okay, on my drum track, I'm going to use these compressors, I'm going to use these effects, and that's what it is. I'm not going to change it. The limitations drive the song. It actually puts you in a parameter that you have to figure out what you're going to do. And it actually makes it so you can make a decision, because you say, you know what, I'm not going to use everything in the world. I'm going to limit myself to a certain extent. So we're going to stop now because we're going to run out of time. But remember to donate to the Ghost, and we'll talk to you later.
It's TV and Seemless and see a mystery and Seemless and Seemly and unseen mystery of what I want to get on you in the mail. The unseen mystery of what I want to get out of you into me. Yeah. to me. It's all fancy. I wanna get out of you and put it into me. Get deep and deep. Mr. SM, yeah. I love to feel what I wanna put in you. What I want in me. That's a dirty pussy. Got the good shit. But I want to do good. And I want to do it with me more. I want to get out of you. It's an unseemly dude. Well, I want to put you get into me. What is on? Listen, well, I want to put you get into me. I'm a Josephine, I got all over you. They can say that I'm true. So I'm seamless. See what I wanna get out of you and put into me. It's unruly, see what you get when you're unclean. It's on, yeah, see, I'm putting you, and I get into me, to know, into all the things, but it's back up, and that's what it means, what it means to me, and I see what I put into you, and I get into me, I know about the ecstasy. What you wanna do is not up all for me. It's not up for me. I got ADHD. Got it on through, see what I put into you, and then you put into me. As if you didn't know, I'm kind of TRL. It's like a let go. As if you didn't know, I'm the kind of TRL to let go. Get rid of you, and I am overload. Get rid of you, and I am overdose. As if you didn't know, I'm the kind of girl who doesn't like this show. And knows deep in the all the snow, getting ready for the overflow. As if you didn't know, you can pound my soul till I get see you am overdose. I'm getting pound my soul until I get to see you am overflow. As if you didn't know, you get to see you am overflow. As if you didn't know, I get hard whenever I pass by, like when the wind blows. didn't know. Yeah, Susie and Leash, they all let go. Like a river flows. As I see you in overflow. If you don't watch out, you'll get on your nose. See you in the overdose. And they all get on like when a wind blows and my skirt flows. And I let go. And if you didn't really know, you get ready for that overflow. And if you didn't really know, you didn't think you get it on your nose. And every time it was fun, you know, they get hard as the dress flows. See you overthrow. No, don't get it deep down my throat. I know you didn't know. Take down that damn overflows. Straight down my throat. I don't give a fuck if you get it on my clothes. See you overflow. You're like make it hard as the wind blows. Yeah, like catch my thigh when my regrets float. You know it's blood red and anything goes. You know my dress is blush red and everything goes. You don't watch out, you'll get my tongue down your throat. That's everybody knows. Anything goes. You don't watch out, you'll get my tongue down your throat. When you're trying to take off my pantyhose, your blush red dress, no backwards, anything goes. Let's see you down my throat. When you slip off my pantyhose, anything goes. Anything goes. Your heart as the wind blows as you disrobe. Your heart as the wind blows as I disrobe. Your heart as the wind blows as I disrobe. Got to see you like a tongue down your throat. You got to see you and everybody knows. Watch out, you'll get it over your clothes. As if you didn't know. Yeah, Miss Josephine goes around my tongue, got a girl's throat. As if you didn't know when you're slipping off my pantyhose, my flush red dress. Yeah, you know everything goes. Just like my tongue down that girl's throat. Blush, red dress, and everything goes. You got to see you like the tongue down your throat. And like my blush, red dress, you know it's backwards, and everything goes. Nude is more than the lack of clothes. Nude is where everything goes. Yeah, nude is more than the lack of clothes. nude is like everything goes in my blood, yes, in my lack of pantyhose. You know, it's like, it's always toes going down your throat. I see you and I know it's getting all over all my suit clothes. You know that it's an overdose. Get ready for that. See you overflow. Yeah, just like you know, Josie, everything goes. My micro minute with a lack of pantyhose. You know that tongue get rammed down her throat. I see you and get all over your clothes. Nude is more than a lack of clothes. Nude means that everything goes. And that tongue getting rammed down that girl's throat. Nude is overflow. Pound it until it overflows. Pound it and everything goes. I'm gonna pound it till the clump comes out of her soul. I'm gonna pound it like I ran my tongue down her throat. I'm gonna pound it in. Yeah, everything goes. Yeah, nude is more than a lack of clothes. As I see you overdose. As I see you overdose. Yeah, nude is more than a lack of clothes. As I see you you got no fear. You got me feeling. You got no feeling. You got no feeling. You got me feeling. What you mean? You mean what you mean to me. What you mean anything but discreet. Got no greed, which one make you feel? Got no got you on your cell phone. Got you you got no feeling. You got no freedom. The FBI says you're the guy. Telephone tell you why. Tells you why. That big lie, yeah, that big lie. You got no feeling. You wonder why the FBI thinks that you're the guy, 'cause of that satellite in the sky. Maybe you should look at your cell phone. Maybe that blog post is why they're knocking on your door tonight. Got no feeling. Got the country feeling. You wonder why you're the guy. Posters in the sky, satellite says your phone. Show your blog post, now you're gone. That blog post is why you're gone. Blog post why you're gone. And now you wonder why. 'Cause that mega lie.
You wanna know why? Why will lie? Wanna know why FBI thinks that you're the guy? Your last satellite in the sky, now you've done bought lie. Fuck your bomb stuff. Fuck your bomb stuff. Next one. Fuck your bomb stop. Fuck your bomb stop. Freedom, not true. One side, they say bad white hamburger, but they wanna kill 6 million June. They said if the bomb stops, fuck that bomb stop. Fuck that bomb stop. That's what can protect you. And we got the trumper you. Very cool. Fuck you. They got that trumper you. Hitler 2 Part 2. Hitler Part 2. Dressed up in red, white, and blue. You fuck that bomb stop. Fuck that bomb stop. You think freedom will protect you? You fuck that bomb stop. Fuck that bomb stop. Your freedom is not for the truth. Not for you. Fuck your bomb stop. Hard tune.